Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 55 of chapter 11. So today's Shloka is the last Shloka of chapter 11. Mat karma krin mat paramaha
Mat karma krin mat paramaha
Mat bhakta sangha varjitaha
Mad bhakta sangha vajjitaha
Nirvairas sarva bhuteshu
Nirvairas sarva bhuteshu
Yasamam eti pandava.
Yasamam yeti pandava.
Word for word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Mat karma krit,
Mat karma krit,
engaged in doing my work.
engaged in doing my work.
Mat paramaha,
Mat paramaha,
considering me the Supreme.
considering me the Supreme.
Mat bhaktaha,
Mat bhaktaha,
engaged in my devotional service.
engaged in my devotional service.
Sangha varjitaha,
Sangha vajjitaha,
freed from the contamination of fruitive activities and mental speculation.
freed from the contamination of repetitive activities and mental speculation.
Nirvairaha,
Nirvairaha,
without an enemy.
without an enemy.
Sarva bhuteshu,
Sarva bhuteshu,
among all living entities.
among all living entities.
Yaha,
Yaha,
one who.
one who.
Saha,
Taha,
he.
he.
Mam, unto me.
Unto me.
Eti,
Eti,
comes.
comes.
Pandava,
Pandava,
O son of Pandu.
O son of Pandu.
Translation. My dear Arjuna,
My dear Arjuna,
he who engages in my pure devotional service,
he who engages in my pure devotional service,
free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation,
free from the contaminations of repetitive activities and mental speculation,
he who works for me,
he who works for me,
who makes me the supreme goal of his life,
who makes me the supreme goal of his life,
and who is friendly to every living being,
and who is friendly to every living being,
he certainly comes to me.
he certainly comes to me.
So Prabhupada again writes an exhaustive purport. So Prabhupada is saying in the purport, anyone who wants to approach the supreme of all the personalities of Godhead on the Krishna Loka planet in the spiritual sky and be intimately connected with the Supreme Personality Krishna must take this formula as stated by the Supreme Himself. Therefore, this verse is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is a book directed to the conditioned souls who are engaged in the material world with the purpose of lording it over nature and who do not know of the real spiritual life. The Bhagavad Gita is meant to show how one can understand his spiritual existence and his eternal relationship with the Supreme Spiritual Personality, and to teach one how to go back home, back to Godhead. Now, here is the verse which clearly explains the process by which one can attain success in his spiritual activity, devotional service. As far as work is concerned, one should transfer his energy entirely to Krishna conscious activities, as stated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Shloka 255. Anasaktasya vishayan yathartham upayunjatah nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. No work should be done by any man except in relationship to Krishna. This is called Krishna karma. One may be engaged in various activities, but one should not be attached to the result of his work. The result should be done only for him For example, one may be engaged in business, but to transform that activity into Krishna consciousness, one has to do business for Krishna. If Krishna is the proprietor of the business, then Krishna should enjoy the profit of the business. If a businessman is in possession of thousands and thousands of dollars, and if he has to offer all this to Krishna, he can do it. This is work for Krishna. Instead of constructing a big building for his sense gratification, he can construct a nice temple for Krishna, and he can install the deity of Krishna and arrange for the deity's service as is outlined in the authorized books of devotional service. This is all Krishna karma. One should not be attached to the result of his work, but the result should be offered to Krishna, and one should accept as prasadam the remnants of offerings to Krishna. If one constructs a very big building for Krishna and installs the deity of Krishna, one is not prohibited from living there, but it is understood that the proprietor of the building is Krishna. That is called Krishna consciousness. If, however, one is not able to construct a temple for Krishna, one can engage himself in cleansing the temple of Krishna. That is also Krishna karma. One can cultivate a garden. Anyone who has land in India, at least any poor man has a certain amount of land, can utilize that for Krishna by growing flowers to offer him. One can sow tulsi plants because tulsi leaves are very important, and Krishna has recommended this in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Krishna desires that one offer him either a leaf or a flower or fruit or a little water, and by such an offering he is satisfied. This leaf especially refers to the tulsi. So one can sow tulsi and pour water on the plant. Thus even the poorest man can engage in the service of Krishna. These are some of the examples of how one can engage in working for Krishna. The word Mat Paramaha refers to one who considers the association of Krishna in his supreme abode to be the highest perfection of life. Such a person does not wish to be elevated to the higher planets such as the moon or sun or heavenly planets, or even the highest planet of this universe, Brahmaloka. He has no attraction for that. He is only attracted to being transferred to the spiritual sky. And even in the spiritual sky, he is not satisfied with merging into the glowing Brahmajyotir effulgence, for he wants to enter the highest spiritual planet, namely Krishnaloka, Goloka, Vrindavana. He has full knowledge of that planet, and therefore he is not interested in any other. As indicated by the word Mad Bhaktaha, he fully engages in devotional service, specifically in the 9 processes of devotional engagement: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering prayers, carrying out the orders of the Lord, making friends with him, and surrendering everything to him. One can engage in all 9 devotional processes, or 8, or 7, or at least in 1, and that will surely make one perfect. The term Sangavarjitaha is very significant. One should disassociate himself from persons who are against Krishna. Not only are the atheistic persons against Krishna, but so also are those who are attracted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. Therefore, the pure form of devotional service is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.11 as follows: Anya bhilashita sushunyam jnana karma dhyanavritam anukulyena krishnanu Sheelanam Bhaktiruttama. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami clearly states that if anyone wants to execute unalloyed devotional service, he must be freed from all kinds of material contamination. He must be freed from the association of persons who are addicted to fruitive activities and mental speculation. When freed from such unwanted association and from the contamination of material desires, one favorably cultivates knowledge of Krishna. That is called pure devotional service. Anukulyasya sankalpaha pratikulyasya varjanam. This is from the Haribhakti Vilasa 11.676. One should think of Krishna and act for Krishna favorably, not unfavorably. Kamsa was an enemy of Krishna's. From the very beginning of Krishna's birth, Kamsa planned in so many ways to kill him. And because he was always unsuccessful, he was always thinking of Krishna. Thus, while working, while eating, and while sleeping, he was always Krishna conscious in every respect. But that Krishna consciousness was not favorable. And therefore, in spite of his always thinking of Krishna 24 hours a day, he was considered a demon. And Krishna at last killed him. Of course, anyone who is killed by Krishna attains salvation immediately. But that is not the aim of the pure devotee. The pure devotee does not even want salvation. He does not want to be transferred even to the highest planet, Goloka Vrindavana. His only objective is to serve Krishna wherever he may be. A devotee of Krishna is friendly to everyone. Therefore, it is said here that he has no enemy, nirvairaha. How is this? A devotee situated in Krishna consciousness knows that only devotional service to Krishna can relieve a person from all the problems of life. He has personal experience of this, and therefore he wants to introduce this system, Krishna consciousness, into human society. There are many examples in history of devotees of the Lord who risked their lives for the spreading of God consciousness. The favorite example is Lord Jesus Christ. He was crucified by the non-devotees, but he sacrificed his life for spreading God consciousness. Of course, it would be superficial to understand that he was killed. Similarly, in India also, there are many examples such as Thakura Haridasa and Prahalada Maharaj. Why such risk? Because they wanted to spread Krishna consciousness, and it is difficult. A Krishna conscious person knows that if a man is suffering, it is due to his forgetfulness of his eternal relationship with Krishna. Therefore, the highest benefit one can render to human society is relieving one's neighbor from all material problems. In such a way, a pure devotee is engaged in the service of the Lord. Now, we can imagine how merciful Krishna is to those engaged in his service, risking everything for him. Therefore, it is certain that such persons must reach the supreme planet after leaving the body. In summary, the universal form of Krishna, which is a temporary manifestation, and the form of time which devours everything, and even the form of Vishnu, four-handed, have all been exhibited by Krishna. Thus, Krishna is the origin of all these manifestations. It is not that Krishna is a manifestation of the original Vishvarupa or Vishnu. Krishna is the origin of all forms. There are hundreds and thousands of Vishnus, but for a devotee, no form of Krishna is important, but the original form, two-handed Shyamasundara. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that those who are attached to the Shyamasundara form of Krishna in love and devotion can see him always within the heart and cannot see anything else. One should understand, therefore, that the purport of this 11th chapter is that the form of Krishna is essential and supreme. So, in two consecutive verses, the purports written by Prabhupada to shlokas 54 and 55 are worth reading over and over and over again. This is a condensed summary of what it means to be Krishna conscious. Srila Prabhupada is giving so many examples in this particular purport of how one can be Krishna conscious, from the wealthiest person to the poorest person. Anyway, I personally felt that the most sublime purports have actually been written to these two shlokas in Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada. So with this, we have completed chapter 11. Just to give us a quick recollection of what all we have covered in these 55 shlokas. This is called the Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. So Arjuna is requesting to see the cosmic form. He has to receive special eyesight to see the cosmic form. Actually, his vision has to be lowered because he is already seeing Bhagavan Shyamasundara. So Krishna describes the universal form, followed by Sanjaya's description, followed by Arjuna's description, including that he sees the Kala Rupa form of the Lord. And the Lord's final instruction, I have already killed everybody, but you can become my instrument. Arjuna's prayers, where he glorifies the Lord, he offers obeisances repeatedly, he seeks forgiveness for being familiar with Krishna, not remembering that he's the Supreme Lord. And he finally makes his request, which is, can you show me your Chaturbhuja Rupa and a Saumya Rupa form? And to the concluding section of this particular chapter, pure devotion alone grants all visions, whether of universal or of two-handed form. The chapter starts with the revelation of God in matter, not in the way of vibhuti, but in the form of Virata Rupa. So essentially, the universal form is not spiritual, it is material in nature because it's a sum total of all of the material aspects of the Lord in one single place. So both are manifestations of God in matter. The chapter will culminate in pure devotion, which we can see, with which we can see all forms of God. So Krishna is saying, only with pure devotion you can actually witness his two-handed form. With that, we've come to the conclusion of chapter 11.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.